Optimizing kvCore, it really helps if you know just a tidbit of HTML. It can be a little intimidating, and I'm no coder, but I had to learn like some, like I call hacks.
Mhm.
I thought tonight, try and keep it short, but I want to tap into, and I'll record it so people can watch. Just some tips, some hacks on HTML. But with kvCore, to get to some of the places you may want to go, just a little bit of HTML can help.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I only really learned enough to do problem solving because, it's like sometimes you copy, paste, and all the code behind it gets all wonky and the fonts don't work right. And back in 2008, when I started blogging, that's when I started discovering, because I couldn't figure out why everything wasn't working right. And then I looked at the HTML version and started kind of deductive reasoning. Oh, here's the font code. Here's the font code. They're overlapping each other. And
Oh, that's awesome. That's not easy to figure out. So that's really cool that you like caught on to that and like completely like reconfigured that yourself. You kind of took it in your own hands. You know what I'm saying?
I just opened the hood and started playing with the wires and trying
Yeah,
to
exactly. You became a computer mechanic.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Like I say, we were in another class. I said I'm more of a MacGyver than an expert on anything. So.
You gotta be a good problem solver in anything in life. That's the only way you're gonna find success.
So I'm just gonna go ahead because there's Sonia. Okay. So I want to unpack tonight what I'm going to do. Thankfully, Jacob actually knows more about HTML than I do. But I just want to highlight, and we can look at this later when you dive into it. When we're working with kvCore, what you get out of the box is a nice generic website, in a solid CRM, and you'll have email drips and you'll have the ability to blog and set it up for your area. However, to really make it sizzle and to power pack the SEO, it helps to know just a little bit of HTML. So I'm a DIY MacGyver kind of person. So I'm going to share, and Jacob's going to back me up and help, not to get into coding, but just from an editor standpoint, the little things that I found that can help. Hey, Eric. By the way, Eric, I've gotten really excited about kvCore. We have to talk, but I know they acquired Boomtown, and I really
acquired Boomtown.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Huh.
So with our kvCore site, I think we can, with some SEO jam-packed stuff in the back end, I think we can beat or exceed, where I feel like we can beat what I was getting with Boomtown, especially if you throw a little advertising dollar juice on the top, So anyway, Jacob's going to help me out because I am, like I said, I'm a self-taught do-it-yourselfer. Like, I got to fix this crap. I don't know what I'm doing. HTML user. So I'll share with that, and please feel free to jump in with questions. And I don't want to get too geeky or overwhelm anybody, or I love these sessions. We can talk. Last week we went an hour and a half. I didn't even realize it. So I'll work on keeping it very short. Okay. This is the back end of kvCore. All right. And we're going to, when you get into web editing or setting up your website, this is where we go. So we're not going to get into all of that, but I really want to focus on content and the custom pages is something we can divert to a little bit. I have used HTML code here in customizing pages, but it'll also show up in blogging. So let's just take a look at a blog post as a case in point. Okay, this is an older one. And this is how it shows with the picture and whatnot. But if we want to edit it, then that brings up this version where I think I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but sometimes things don't work right. And that's where I started getting into when I'm going to make my screen bigger because we'll be looking at some of this coding. Okay. I'll make sure these little brackets, that's where you switch from, back in the day, we used to call WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, to the code, which shows you the behind the scenes. And this is what's driving everything. Now, the things that can throw you out of whack. So there's a couple things I want to point out. Two codings that have made a huge difference for me. One is the paragraph. You'll notice in HTML, just like when we went to the brackets, everything's in brackets. So this is the beginning of a paragraph, bracket P bracket. And you'll find consistently when there's the end of the paragraph, bracket backslash P bracket. You see the same thing here with the heading. This is a number 2 heading. So these brackets show where that heading starts. Now there's an embedded link, so it's a little hard to find where that ends, but here, this is the end of the heading. So when we come out of the code, you can see this was the heading. So that told the heading. Now, where the paragraphs become very helpful, sometimes you embed a picture or you embed a video and the spacing can be really, really off. So not knowing, sometimes on the back end, I'll insert another paragraph, and then the back end to add some space. For instance, if I wanted to do that, for some reason, all I would have to do, this is the end paragraph, is do bracket P bracket and then bracket end paragraph bracket. Now that's created a paragraph break. That is just a little tidbit because that will come in handy later for you to see that. So knowing how to kind of see those things. Now, the way that I use HTML to add SEO, and I'll show you what I did on my custom pages and service areas. What I didn't know until I took his class is look at these service areas. The page text is where you can put in a whole bunch of stuff. For instance, this is now when you go to my service area at the bottom of my website, where you focus on where you serve. As they were when I set up, when kvCore rolled out, I was impressed with these because they include so much data and it's great for statistics. This is what you get with no customization from here down. It'll show the most popular, the most expensive, least expensive, and some wonderful statistics. I used to crunch numbers every week trying to report on statistics. Now, kvCore really gives me that in a snapshot that I can share with my clients. However, this is buried at the bottom of the front page. And it's a little different than the market reports that get emailed out. This also has areas, in Ambler, for instance. And now this will pull, like a sub-report. So there's a lot of possibilities here. But I went ahead and added some kind of lifestyle stuff. Like I embedded this video. It's just a loop, featuring some of the lifestyle aspects of living in Ambler. And I pulled a quote off of niche.com and then put in some photos. And I created a squeeze page for Ambler. So it'll direct them every time there's Ambler, it goes to the squeeze page. It'll go right to listings. So although people who see this may have already registered, in case they haven't, that's the call to action. As they click through, it'll take them to listings. They click a couple listings, they'll be forced to register if they're not already. But I also included informational links. Like as your site has real information and real links, Google will start ranking it in the algorithms and you'll start seeing much more organic traffic. So schools are important. I put some links there for the school. So how did I do that? the way I do that is you need something like a blank canvas to start. And I did that using these custom pages. I just use this for editing because you're going to need to edit somewhere where you can copy the code. So this is one of the ways you can use for editing. Let me explain by showing you. I've just added King of Prussia as a focused area on my site. So we'll add King of Prussia, and my category is mainline guides. What I did was I used these as a place to edit. Now you can use a blank blog as a place. Let's just do that. We'll create a new blog, and I'm going to just start writing like King of Prussia. And then I'll just start writing, and then, I want to make that a header. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that a header too. And here's another tip. If you haven't played with this, and you guys probably have, I just learned about it from Anthony, is Chat GPT. I know it's all the rage. So we're going to work with that tonight to generate some SEO rich content. So we can come in here and whatever, ask questions. It saved it in my here. So I want to ask, like, what's the living in King of Prussia PA like? And ChatB, it's more predictive analysis than Google in terms of keyword search. From what I understand, artificial intelligence can be kind of scary because it's looking forward. It's has a human element, where Google keyword search is a little more challenging, looking what people have historically been looking at. But overall, this is a nice, here, look, I can just copy this. Well, copying it, I might run into those HTML problems, but just for example, where'd that site page go? I'm going to try it and see if it messes up the HTML. But so here I have a nice little intro about King of Prussia, right? Now, how do I get that into my area page? In real life, I would probably edit it a little bit, but make sure it sounds human, and not like a bot. But it's pretty good, right? So here, let's look at the HTML. Whoa, this is where I get slurpy brain freeze, right? But here we got our friend, the paragraph break at the end. And we have a header 2 at the beginning. So some of that's starting to make sense. Header 2 ends here, \H2, paragraph begins. And then this is the paragraph style. And that was a copy over from Chatbot, you'll find. So I'm not going to worry about all that. I'm just going to copy all the code. And it's just like anything else. It's like, if you have a Mac or PC, Control-C for copy, or your normal function, right? I'm going to do copy. I'm just going to save this. We might want to use it later. And now I'm going to go back to that area, site content, service areas. Now let's go to King of Prussia. Whoops. This part is where now I'm just going to paste the HTML code and save. Now, when I go to my site, down to the bottom for the area served. And so let's look at King of Prussia. So now it has this chatbot intro here, and then it goes right to the automatic generated information that kvCore does. That will increase your SEO results tremendously. And it makes it more user-friendly because it's real information. Now I have this new page, King of Prussia. I'm just going to copy the page link. And over here, I have these mainline in my content, custom pages, right? I like these because it's a drop-down menu from the top that I created because I don't think everybody goes to the bottom of a page, right? So let me look, category. I created these mainline guides. You can call it anything you want. Mainline is our suburban area. So I'm going to add a new page. I'm going to call it King of Prussia. King of Prussia. We all call it King of Prussia Living and call it part of my mainline guides. Now I'm just going to go to the HT. No, this is not. This is where I'm doing. We've talked a little bit about forwarding, right? How you can forward. Just, have a GoDaddy or something to forward. Now we're going to come back to this because you have a chance to put a meta tag description. That's that little 2-3 sentence that'll show up in Google. And also here you can pack it with keywords. But I want to get the page running first. Now, if we go back to my mainline guides, I'm going to have to refresh. Let's see if because I feel like if when I use websites, I never scroll to the bottom to find things. I'm always looking at the menu. So I like to keep in mind, like, what would I look for? And that's why I put some of this custom content into drop down menus here. But really, this just points to the same thing exactly as is at the bottom of my page. See? Now, what's the other added benefit here? One of the things with ChatGPT is it's good for keywords. Like if we put top 10 keywords for living in King of Prussia, PA. Now these keywords have to be with a comma between them. So I can't just copy paste. You can use your email as an editing tool. Let me open email here. Or like Notepad or anything that you use, right? This can be just a quick, just using the email. Now I'm going to take my ChatGPT and copy these keywords into my email just to have this is just a drawing board, so to speak. Something to work with to get it to where I can put it into the site. So that's not, for some reason, the numbers get in the way. Cost of living, you have to have a comma. So we can go backwards and get rid of the numbers. As long as you have no space and a comma, that'll work for the keywords. You can, it's really, so when I have these keywords now, I'm just going to copy these and go back to the site editor, the custom pages here. Let's find King of Prussia. Okay, I'm going to edit the custom page that redirects. It redirects through that slug, but I'm going to pack those keywords. Boom. And now we know some of the phraseology that they're looking for in the description. So you could do something like King of Prussia is an affordable, safe community. I don't usually emphasize myself that much on the description, but you want, for it to capture, I usually focus on just the location kind of description. Now, there we go. That is a power-packed custom page that quickly, that easily. Now I would go back and I would probably do some links, embedding links, and also some photos maybe, but this isn't bad, right? This isn't bad at all. And now if I'm talking to somebody you know, for instance, I met a for sale by owner yesterday morning, and it's a home in King of Prussia. That's why I'm doing this. I want to make sure King of Prussia is represented well on my website, and I can send her that link along with market reports, what have you. Or I want to make sure when she goes to my site that she sees either here or at the bottom that I serve King of Prussia. Does that make sense? So I'm going to stop sharing there and see if we've gone completely geeked out and got lost under the hood, or any questions or things that you'd like to go over.